What's up, metalheads? It's your main man, Eddie Monster here. Never, since I've started doing this on YouTube, have I ever had to report back on a topic after just posting about it the day before. But the subject we have for today is such a hotbed topic because shit's been thrown all over the internet the whole entire time. And if you don't know what I'm talking about Cradle of Filth and all the band drama that's happening in Cradle of Filth. First of all, the band, right, should be celebrating the almost 30-year anniversary. Exactly, it's 29 years, because in 1996, on the day of the recording of this podcast episode, or this edition of Rock and Metal News Bite-Size Edition, they should be celebrating the anniversary of Dusk and Her Embrace, but instead, Cradle of Filth and Dani Filth in particular are dealing with more bullshit. That's right. So, on the podcast, episode 183, we talked about Federov and how she quit the band, almost no explanation. Then the very next day, her husband came out and he reported, Ashok, and he reported that he was leaving the band, okay? Well, then, right after that, apparently Federov released a statement talking about contracts, right? And exposing her contract all over on the web. She starts off by saying, "We planned this transition out of Cradle of Filth months ago. Management is dishonest, manipulative, and tries to take money that belongs to us with no contract between us session musicians and him. When I called them out on this attempted theft of album advance money from Screaming of the Valkyries, they called me cancer and a dead horse and threatened to fire me." She goes on to say, "The frontman does nothing to stop them and hides behind them while they belittle and steal. We hold the frontman responsible for hiring this management and never advocating for his team, only himself. Other ex-members try to tiptoe around this and only blame management. Management works for the frontman." At this point, there are no original members of Cradle of Filth. Okay, Dani Filth is basically the only original and remaining member, and why not? His name is in the band. It's the namesake. Dani Filth, Cradle of Filth. So he has every right to hire management. And what do you think management does? And let me remind all of you out there, okay, that before Ashok and Federov, okay, signed off on that contract, what happens? They are presented a contract by management, okay? Because she goes on to talk about the pay and not getting raises and whatever the case may be, and I just kind of shut her out because I was like, you had an opportunity. You read the contract like anybody else. You signed the contract like anybody else would. You knew what you were getting yourself into. Basically, it's what I'm leading to, right? Well, never fear, because Dani Filth is here. That's right. He released a statement after announcing that he's not going to take it anymore. Like Twisted Sister. He's just not going to take it anymore. And he fired Ashok. He said, you know what? We don't need you. Because it was what Dani had to say. Despite all attempts to illegally defame and derail the band, Cradle of Filth will not cancel any of our South American shows, though fans will have to bear with us being a band with only one guitarist live. That is, of course, until Ashok's temporary replacement is flown out to join the tour in a few days' time. Thank you for your understanding in this horrible matter. We're all in a state of shock over proceedings and will share our side to these unfortunate events in due course. Please respect our decision to part with Ashok now rather than at the end of the tour, and avoid speculation as more clarity on the situation will be provided. The rest of the band are cool, even if we've taken aback in accusations towards management, who work very closely with me and the band, are completely unjust and unfounded. Patience is a virtue, and the truth will always out. Thank you once again, fellow filthlings, and we look forward to the rest of the Screaming of the Americas tour here in Uruguay and beyond. Your friend, Dani. Again, I got to side with Dani on this one. It's basically, at this point, a solo band, but it's his band. It's always been his band. Okay? He has every right to hire management who are going to work for him. They are going to do the dirty work for him. They are going to stick up and watch his best interests. It's been done all over time, people. This is business. Okay? After a while, music becomes a business. When you're signed to a label, managements, all these things, unfortunately, it's a business. Okay? Monkey business it may be, but it's still business. And unfortunately, what are you going to do? It's his band. You knew beforehand not to sign the contract if you didn't think it was up to your standards. I mean, do I have to call an entertainment lawyer and talk to an entertainment lawyer about who's right and who's wrong? No, it's obvious. You move on. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be the end of any of this, because I'm sure one side is going to respond and the other side will respond back, or maybe not. Maybe, Dani's going to take the time and he's just going to say, you know what, let all the evidence play itself out here. It's the best he can do at this point. So you heard it there. Again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Rock and Metal News Bite Size Edition. We will also have in the description below, we'll have both links to the podcast, episode 183, where we talk about this, and then the previous episode talking about Ashok and him leaving, so that way you can get yourself caught up with this episode as well. Remember, it's business. Stay metal.